I feel like it's something that should be reviewed.
I just see how hard they work, how they, and a lot of times support their family as well. So yeah, I think that international students are part of what makes Harvard Harvard. So yeah, I mean, I think that they're definitely a big part of this school, and they're also immigrants in general are a huge part of America.
Meanwhile, across the globe, US embassies have reportedly been asked to stop scheduling appointments for student visas as it prepares to expand social media vetting for applicants. A move that could severely delay visa processing and hurt universities, for whom international students are critical for their finances. The State Department will now look into an applicant's social media activity and flag anything that they deem objectionable. The question that now remains: can America's most elite universities survive without international students? Or will Trump's crackdown bring an end to the Ivy League dream?
Now, as we heard there, the US is said to be pausing all new visa interviews of prospective students hoping to study in the States. However, those who have already secured a visa interview are not affected. The move comes as the Trump administration is said to be further expanding its social media vetting process. Since 2019, visa applicants have provided social media information, but no details on how a visa could now be rejected based on this new stepped-up screening. Some reports say it could be whatever the government finds inflammatory, such as perhaps taking part in an anti-Israel rally. Based on that, critics question if even posting a picture of, say, the humanitarian situation in Gaza could mean trouble. Let's get you more on this. We're joined by Jessica Gilani, an expert at social media hygiene. She is with the Pitt Cyber Institute, which looks at cutting-edge cyber research at the University of Pittsburgh. Thanks very much, Jessica, for your time. Jessica, we are all guilty of this. We may often blindly follow others on social media. It's often, the spur of a moment decision. We may not even be thinking about whom we've exactly followed. What can someone do about those accounts we've kind of forgotten about, given you never know what might now be scrutinized in this new visa vetting process?
It's very tricky because the third-party services that are available actually violate the terms of service for many of the social media platforms that people use. So while there are options, there are tools that you can download to try to help with the management of this, it's technically in violation of the rules for platforms like Instagram, for example. And what that could mean is if you're caught using those, you could have your account disabled or revoked. In fact, the software program, the contractor that the government agencies are using to scrape people's accounts may in fact be in violation of a lot of the terms of service for these platforms.
So
Other
what's the
things that you
option
can
then?
do, oh, sorry. Go ahead, sorry.
Go ahead.
So other things you could do might just be like the old way of manually having to do it. It's not easy. It definitely takes time. But if you're doing it, you know that you are doing it well. Of course, the things that we put on the internet have longevity, and the data from those posts and that following is available. It's just a matter of whether or not the government agencies that are vetting these accounts and the social media of these visa applicants want to take that extra step and have the wherewithal to request the information from the platform companies.
Okay, now, Jessica, is there a way for a person to go back years and look at their every single action on social media? What if it's like something as simple as a like from several years ago, to say a picture someone may have kind of reacted to on a centuries-old map, perhaps from the Middle East?
It's difficult because you can, other than doing it manually, there's not a way that is not violating the rules of a lot of these platforms like Facebook or Instagram and or X/Twitter, for example. I think, technically this is in violation of the First Amendment protections that do include visa applicants, but I the administration seems eager to test the boundaries of the limits of those protections. So it does seem like the best course of action is to try to manually go through your account. Now, there are options for a lot of businesses to be able to manage social media through a program like Hootsuite, for example, but that's a paid service and it's technically only supposed to be for business accounts. So I'm not entirely clear if a personal account using that service would be in violation of it. And primarily, those tools are used to schedule posts in the future, not necessarily to cull prior social media records from one's account.
All right, and if a person's account, say, is put on a private setting on TikTok or Instagram, is there a way for officials to still scrutinize it?
So technically, they actually issued guidance earlier this morning saying that if a person's accounts, their social media accounts, are private, they want the Immigration and Customs officials to request that they make those accounts public for the vetting process. I'm not sure if they can require them to switch their accounts, but I think they are being encouraged to put a tremendous amount of pressure on people whose accounts are private.
So it seems like a lot of hard work to scrub yourself off the internet if you want to. Thanks very much indeed for your time here. Jessica Galani joining us this morning on Washington Watch. In other news now, the world's richest man, Elon Musk, is leaving his government role as a top advisor to President Trump after spearheading an overhaul of the federal workforce. When he came on board, Musk originally pledged to cut up to $2 trillion from the annual federal budget, but the actual number is far less.
Invited to stay as long as you want. At some point, I guess he wants to get back home to his cars.
Stay as long as you want. That's what President Donald Trump told his once close confidant Elon Musk. But it seems the Tesla chief has not taken the president up on his offer. Announcing his exit as a special government employee on Thursday, after his scheduled 130 days were up, Musk thanked President Trump for the opportunity while reiterating that the mission of Doge will continue despite his exit. While Musk's role was temporary, there were speculations galore on whether the billionaire will stick to the legal deadline. His quick and unceremonious departure comes the day after he criticized Trump's Big Beautiful Bill, which proposes multi-trillion-dollar tax breaks and a boost to defense spending, calling it disappointing. In the past 5 months, Musk made some big claims about Doge's work. From allegedly having saved $160 billion through mass layoffs, eliminating what he called crazy diversity contracts and cutting global aid programs. Yet, reports suggest only $61.5 billion has been itemized publicly, with only $32.5 billion having supporting documentation. Certain studies also suggest Doge's action will cost American taxpayers $135 billion this fiscal year. Musk proved to be a turbulent force in Washington, clashing in private with Trump's cabinet-level officials, while stoking controversy abroad over election interference and facing mass protests at home. With Musk and Tesla facing the brunt of escalating political blowback, President Trump even stepped in with face-saving showcase on the White House lawns. Despite appending several federal agencies, Musk ultimately failed to deliver the generational savings he had promised. Moving away from full-time politics, Musk has many challenges ahead, from trying to win back investors' confidence to overcoming the failure of SpaceX's latest launch. For now, the tech billionaire is back to selling the future. Disha Bagchi, NDTV World.
Legal whiplash this week that nearly saw Trump's tariff plans blocked, only to then be restored later. A U.S. federal court of appeals has given Trump's sweeping tariffs a reprieve, putting a stay on an earlier ruling from another court. This means the U.S. can continue collecting tariffs while the stay is in place. The U.S. Court of International Trade had earlier ruled in a surprise decision that the tariffs were illegal. For more, we are joined by economist and trade expert David Eddick. Thank you very much, David, for joining us here on Washington Watch. David, let's take a step back, if you will. First, could you just broadly and simply explain to us why the U.S. International Trade Court said that Trump did not have unlimited powers to impose those tariffs in the first place?
Well, much of Donald Trump's policymaking in terms of trade has drawn on old, obscure legislation. In this particular instance, the legislation that he drew on was really designed in a Cold War era, dealing with security issues, security conflicts with potential trade partners. So this ruling would limit his authority under that Cold War era act.
And the judge said that that couldn't be implemented as far as this emergency economic power legislation goes. Got that? Now, David, the decision by the appeals court is a legal win for Trump, at least for now. But what about the long term? Does the fate of his global tariff regime look uncertain? How would you characterize it?
Well, uncertainty is the word all the way through this. For businesses, for people, for governments, and now for Donald Trump. I think it's likely that the courts will ultimately kick this to the Supreme Court. But even then, ultimately, this is about politics. This is about power. And Congress is likely to be drawn in at some point to give President Trump clearer trade authority.
Right, and many hoping that it would go to the Supreme Court so it offers less uncertainty and more clarity. But how much does what we saw this week hamper the US's bargaining power? Several countries, including India, are in the midst of hammering out trade deals with the United States.
Yeah, it really complicates things for everybody, including U.S. government trade negotiators. That said, the environment, the larger environment, is one of which tariffs are an emerging policy from the United States. I just think that governments abroad and businesses need to have that in mind as they move forward. I would suggest that governments abroad would be wise to continue the negotiating process, to stay in front of the situation, to stay in front of U.S. negotiators.
David, would you go as far as saying that people people in foreign countries negotiating with the U.S. should continue talking but stall in some way, perhaps?
Each team, each government will have to choose their best approach. Yes, stall, but there's risk in stalling. I mean, that's why I say that uncertainty is the dominant theme here. There are no easy decisions from a negotiator's perspective.
Right, David, and if Trump, very quickly, in a nutshell here, if Trump can't use those emergency economic powers from that legislation that he's tried to, what option does he have left in terms of other ways that he can push his trade agenda through?
Well, there are other legal options on the books currently that he can pursue, but I think ultimately if the courts really get in the way, Donald Trump can go to the U.S. Congress. He dominates the U.S. political system. He dominates the Republican Party. The Republican Party has a majority in the House and Senate. He can get things through.
Right, David, I've run out of time here. Thank you very much for your insights on this ongoing saga with the Trump tariffs. In other news now, this week saw the Trump administration asking a federal judge to dismiss a lawsuit over a Maryland man who was mistakenly deported to El Salvador 2 months ago. The U.S. Supreme Court has ordered the government to facilitate Kilmar Abrego Garcia's return to the U.S., but President Trump insists that Garcia is a member of a transnational gang. Fighting for Garcia is an Indian-American lawyer determined to bring him back. I caught up with Reena Gandhi, partner at law firm Murray Osorio, earlier this week. Reena, the Trump administration this week has sought to dismiss the case of Abrego Garcia from being returned back to the United States. Mm-hmm. The argument being that he is in a foreign country, it's not in the U.S. jurisdiction, the U.S. court cannot do anything to really bring him back. What's your response to that?
So court has already reviewed these arguments. These are the same arguments that they have presented before, and the judge dismissed these arguments as not valid, as not persuasive. The timing of this filing is a bit suspicious. I think there may have been a deadline they were approaching, and maybe this was the remedy to file something timely. But from our perspective, there's really no response needed. A judge has already analyzed and dismissed these arguments.
Any idea on when we'd possibly hear back and what the judge decides on that?
I'm not exactly sure. Obviously, it's up to her. I don't think there's much analysis needed, given she's already reviewed and adjudicated this filing.
All right. The Supreme Court in April said that the Trump administration needs to facilitate the bringing back of Abrego Garcia.
The release and the return, yes,
okay,
correct.
Release and the return back to the United States. Nothing has happened since then. U.S. District Court judge is talking about potentially looking at contempt of court. Mm-hmm. What would that contempt of court look like?
Yeah. Honestly, it can look like a whole host of different things. It could be against the attorneys themselves, against certain government officials. It could be monetary, non-monetary. There's a number of different ways that this can look. I think, though, that this judge understands the political nature of this case, understands the importance of this case, and is not trying to push where she does not need to, and I think she would use that sparingly and only as a last resort, and I don't know if we're there yet.
In a scenario where you've exhausted all options, mm-hmm. the Trump administration refuses to comply with the judge's orders, what's the scenario? What are we looking at? What are your options?
I think it's kind of a scary proposition, right? We have a Supreme Court order. We have a system of checks and balances, and no president is above the Supreme Court. Right? That is the whole point of our three branches and this balance. I certainly don't want to envision what our country looks like if we get to that point.
Is there a scenario where he might potentially have to move to a third country that's safer than the current one in El Salvador?
I think he'd have to get released first. He's in jail, right? As far as we're aware, he's in jail.
Right.
So if he were to be released from jail, I think there are probably a number of different ways we could facilitate his return, right?
Either to the United States or elsewhere.
Or elsewhere, right? Especially lucky for him, if you will. I mean, he's not a lucky person, let's be clear, but lucky for him, this case has gotten international attention, and I imagine there are other countries who would offer him potentially safe haven. I have no idea. I've not asked any other countries because we are not giving up. But to answer your proposition, could he move or should he move to another country? I think the first step is he's got to get released from jail. If he's released from jail, then we can talk about other options.
Reena Gandhi, thank you very much for your time here on NDTV.
Thank you so much.
Time for a quick wrap on some other stories that made headlines this week. In a move set to impact millions of immigrants, the U.S. Supreme Court has cleared the way for the Trump administration to strip the legal right to temporarily live and work in the U.S. for as many as 500,000 people from Cuba, Haiti, Nicaragua, and Venezuela, pushing the total number of people who could be newly exposed to deportation to nearly 1 million. The code will now let the Department of Homeland Security to end so-called parole programs that gave migrants temporary legal status, marking the second time in less than 2 weeks that the court has cleared the way for possible deportations of hundreds of thousands of migrants. Tacos taking on a whole new meaning for President Donald Trump after a new phrase on Wall Street coined by Financial Times columnist Robert Armstrong, the acronym TACO, now standing for Trump Always Chickens Out. It mocks the president's back and forth on tariff policies. The reference appeared to have the US president visibly annoyed.
Wall Street analysts have coined a new term called the taco trade. They're saying Trump always chickens out on your tariff threats, and that's why markets are higher this week. What's your response to that?
We had a dead country. We had a country people didn't think it was going to survive, and you ask a nasty question like that. It's called negotiation. You set a number.
And Faizan Zaki, with roots from Hyderabad, has won the 2025 Scripps National Spelling Bee. He beat over 240 of the country's top young spellers. The 13-year-old from Allen, Texas, who lost in a lightning round tiebreaker last year, clinched the title in a tense 20th round, outlasting fellow finalist Sarvadan Kadam, correctly spelling Eclair Simon, winning a $50,000 prize.
Éclaircissement. E-C-L-A-I-R-C-I-S-S-E-M-E-N-T. Éclaircissement.
That is correct.
National Spelling Bee champion. Somebody for Peter Faizan.
Faizan Zaki, you are the 2000.
Éclaircissement had to look up what that actually meant, and in case you're wondering what it means, it's a noun, a French word which means seeking clarification. That's it for me, for here on Washington Watch. Thanks for your company.
As a dad, I know life's unpredictable. It's all fun and games until it's not.
You okay?
I want my kids to always be looked after. That's why I'm not putting things off anymore and protecting the life we've built by calling Smart Insurance.
Hi, how can I help?
Hi, like a quick quote, please.
Okay, you can choose a benefit amount up to £750,000 depending on your age.
Brilliant.
If you're a UK resident aged 18 to 64, you can apply with just a few health and lifestyle questions. For £250,000 of cover, the price starts at just £14.77 a month.
That's less than I thought, and could help my wife pay off the mortgage.
With our Smart Family Guarantee, you'll have peace of mind.
That's good to know.
You'll also receive a 100% advance in the event of terminal illness. And 10% cashback on your first year's premiums. That's the Smart Cashback. Plus, you get your choice of a £125 gift card.
Protect the life you've built the smart way. To get a free life insurance quote today, call our specialist UK team on 0800 977 6797 or visit smartinsurance.co.uk.
What they don't tell you about getting older is how much fun it can be. Enjoying all the things you've worked so hard for. Spending time with the people that really matter. Not to mention, finally finding that precious time for yourself. I don't want anything taking my best years away from me, but like so many people, I've seen the heartbreak that dementia can cause. That's why I'm asking everyone to order this essential free guide from Alzheimer's Research UK. It's called Your Brain Matters. We all know what's good for our heart and our lungs, but do you know how to keep your brain healthy too? Well, this guide tells you how, in 7 steps you can start taking right now, whatever your age. Just ring the number on screen to get your free copy. Inside, you'll find facts and tips that can keep your brain healthy and help reduce your risk of developing dementia. It's advice you can really trust from leading dementia scientists. Read it, keep it, and check back whenever you need to. Order your free copy now. Call Alzheimer's Research UK on 0800 035 5984 or text BRAIN2 to 78866. Think of it as another way of planning for your best years, because your brain really matters.
It's been a difficult year for our family. We're finally going through my Tom's things. I want to make him proud, and that starts by making sure our son is protected.
Welcome to British Seniors, the UK's #1 rated provider of over 50s life insurance.
Hi, I'd like a quick quote.
No problem. We're proud to offer our seniors lifetime guarantee. With 100% of claims having been paid, we guarantee your premiums will never go up and that you'll speak to one of our specialists in the UK.
That's great.
UK residents aged 50 to 80 are guaranteed to be accepted. Depending on your age, your loved ones can get a cash payout up to £10,000. Plus, when you sign up, you'll receive a £135 gift card and free 24/7 GP advice and health services.
That money could help with debts or my funeral costs. I'll do it.
Be proud to protect your loved ones with British Seniors. To get a free quote today, call our UK team on 0800 158 552 or visit britishseniors.co.uk.
It's pandemonium, it's pandalicious, it's fantastic. It's the world of Panda Bingo.
I like to make a cup of tea, get settled on the sofa and play Panda Bingo. It's like a little bit of me time. Well, me and the pandas.
Whether I'm out and about on my mobile or just at home on the laptop, I can play my favourite Panda Bingo games anytime, anywhere. I just love it.
Brilliant bingo rooms, great games, out of this world offers. Join today at pandabingo.com/bingo.
And thank you for speaking to us.
Thank you.
So 5 decades, you have seen the multiple highs, several lows. How has the journey been, according to you, your own political journey of 5 decades?
No politician in this country has faced ups and downs what I have undergone. I have seen so many developments in this great country, in personal life, social life, and political life everywhere. When I started my career, no roads, no power at the time. There is some remote areas only partly covered with electricity. And the government of India at that time, for MLAs, they used to give one jeep, that to military jeep, at a concessional price. That is totally not workable. We have to get repair everything. Roads are very bad, so they used to give one jeep. Second one, phones are not available. They used to give 3 telephones for MLA, but that phones are also not working condition. Even if you give phone, nobody knows where, when it is going to function like that. And also gas. In your recommendation letter, they used to give yearly 2-3 gas connections. And also railway tokens to travel. That were the beginning. At that time, no flight connectivity, all these things. So I have seen all these things. For this great country, I contributed something to my level.
Mr. Naidu, somebody who comes from that background and your generation, for him to, in the first round itself, round 1 itself, as the Chief Minister, as an administrator, let me put it like that, because you have been a minister also in state cabinet in various capacities, to imagine that we should transform a place like Hyderabad, talk of Cyberabad, talk of IT city, talk of completely different style of functioning of government, is not only transformative, it's actually a leap of faith in a country like that, where you are saying that you started when there were no roads. How did it come to your mind? What propelled you to think like that and not like an ordinary politician?
No, always I used to think ahead of times. That is a passion for me. And also I believe things will happen. So in the initial stage, very hard work to get it done, so many things. Next phase, I have gone differently when I became Chief Minister. Economic reform started. 1991, I became Chief Minister in 95. Then I initiated second generation reforms. Power sector reforms, everything I initiated. Then I won comfortable majority. That majority supported Vajpayee government. I was very crucial key player in that. Vajpayee ji used to listen all positive things. I used to going on lobbying with him for the nation building. That is how step by step I built everything. If you see deregulation of telecommunication sector, even nobody visualized BSNL, VSNL. BSNL domestic calls, VSNL international calls. Two public limited companies. Then I used to visualize China. They used to add cell phones at that time. Every month like that, 1 million, 10 millions like that. Then I was jealous about it. After all, they are all doing, why can't we do it? Then I went to Vajpayee ji and then I asked him. Before also I tried, but I couldn't succeed. Then he said, where is money? Second one, he said, if you see, both are public limited companies, there are shareholders. How to handle? Every country, transformation has taken place, revolutions or technology, everything. Now, no need to bother about money, we will pay dividend for the customer. Then they will be happy, then we can transform the nation. By force, I gave him one report. Then at the time he constituted a committee. Finance Minister Chairman, I was co-chairman. Then that report he implemented. Today you are seeing. That was the need for me at that time. Without bandwidth, I cannot promote IT. My people used to work from Hyderabad to America, the night and day zone difference, everything. Even few pockets at that time. Either Hyderabad, when I started, it has picked up. Only Gurgaon, Pune, Bangalore and Chennai. These are all the places they used to work on IT. So like that, so many things. Even open sky policy was my idea. Greenfield airport. I need one of the best airport.
But you said that thinking ahead of time is your passion. But something must be driving you, Mr. Naidu.
No, what I'm saying, only few people will get this opportunity. Through public policy, we can transform. That is my passion. Everything, politics is very important. Even 96, 97 at that time, I had 35 MPs from my state. Both BJP and Telugu Desam 99, 35 Lok Sabha and also 10, 12 Rajya Sabha. That is very crucial number.
So you're essentially talking about your role as a kingmaker. I mean, one may say that you're the original kingmaker of Indian politics. I mean, from the 1990s to now.
I'm not saying kingmaker. I'm only small way I am playing for this great nation, some contribution.
But since you have held that crown of being the kingmaker for so many years across generations, how has it been? I mean, what have you seen change in the 1990s when you supported the United Front government to 2024?
No, nowadays, great opportunity. I really appreciate Narendra Modi ji. He made India proud. From 10th place, we are able to reach 4th largest economy. It is a great achievement. And also India is well positioned as of now. That is where I used to say always, right man, right time for the nation. We are fortunate. Now, he has given Vision 2047, Vikasit Bharat, with stable government and progressive policies. We will achieve it. I am totally confident about it. This is where India is having strength. One is late. We have started economic reforms in 1991. Second, first mover advantage of technology, India. Third one, windfall gain of demographic dividend. Youngest country in the world. All these three are deadly combination for India and also right leadership. Now, if you drive properly, nobody can stop us.
But interestingly, in Amravati, Prime Minister Modi said that when he was the Chief Minister of Gujarat, he used to look towards you when you were the Andhra Chief Minister for learning new technology initiatives.
Oh, what I'm saying, I have seen so many chief prime ministers and chief ministers. But Narendra Modi ji is different. That is where I am saying he became chief minister after me. But as prime minister, he has transformed the nation. No other politician understood technology and also reforms properly, I can say. Everybody is thinking reform means it is for rich. Without creating wealth, how we are going to eradicate poverty? Number two, technology means everybody is having a mindset, I won't understand. You cannot understand, but technology will transform. It will move forward. Even kids are adopting technology. They are operating technology. Even politicians are not doing. How can we transform the nation? That is the strength of Prime Minister.
Mr. Naidu, at one point of time, Nasir Rao told you that Naidu, you are too fast. And today, your dreams or the technology, as you say, are driving even the government of India. How do you see that journey of technology adoption in governance and technology adoption by the country as a whole?
Even P.V. Narasimha Rao, I had a great faith on him. He was instrumental, he was mainly responsible for economic reforms. At the same time, all Indian politicians never spoke about economic reforms. I told them we have to convince masses, we have to convince people the benefits of reforms. They said, no, with compulsion we have done. Now, if you talk, you will be branded as capitalist or pro-rich. That was the stigma people are having at that time, the old generation. Now everybody is talking, we are moving forward. Here, technology, when I started, nobody understood technology, IT. Then I used to talk, going on, motivating and competing all over the world, everything I had done. Today, technology is matured. We are inspiring time. Anything you want to do, 95% accuracy can take a decision. That is AI. All data, real time you can collect. Real time solution you can find out. Because of historical data, global knowledge, real time data, what more you want? Then that is where I am promoting today. Don't work hard, work smart. And India will become now in a knowledge economy, global hub for service sector.
You also introduced that concept of competition among states.
Yes.
What was that story that played out between you and Bill Gates?
No, what I am saying, first of all, Bill Gates, he visited Delhi. At that time, internet revolution. Because of him, world has become a global village. Then I want to meet him. Then he said, through his ambassador at the time, I am busy, I don't have any work with politicians. Just like you told me very clearly, we are not interviewing politicians.
Then what I mean to say before this.
Before this. I told him, I am having some work with you, I want to share some ideas. Then he offered me, come and join in cocktail party. At that time, there was a stigma. If you go there, you are also in that party. So I said no. Then with great difficulty, he accommodated 10 minutes. I prepared 1 week PowerPoint presentation. Then I presented the strength of India, IT, how we are very strong, how we are inevitable, everything I explained to him. Then finally, by seeing that, I operated everything, laptop at that time, now iPad. Then he said, I am very much impressed, extremely well. Never have seen this type of presentation. What can I do for you? Don't do anything for me. If you believe India, and also don't forget about Indians. Second one, if at all you are coming outside Seattle, come to Hyderabad with your development center. Then he said, never I thought all these things. Give me some time, I will come back. I spent 45 minutes first meeting. Then I didn't leave him. All the way I went to Seattle. Both of us had a good discussion. Then finally we addressed the press conference in Seattle. Then he used to come to Davos. Then I used to meet him. That is how I cultivated. Then he told me, I will start a development center in Hyderabad. That is the first development center after Seattle. Then one Mr. Nadella Satya, who was working in Hyderabad, he became president of that company.
Right.
This is how things will happen dramatically sometimes. Now he became a good friend. Recently he came. We had a very good meeting. Through Gates Foundation, he wanted to work on 3 areas. One is health, one is agriculture, one is education. Now he promised me he will bring knowledge and technology globally available. I can work it out in Andhra Pradesh and produce a proof of concept so that you can replicate Andhra first and India, and he want to take some of the countries. So we are working that project now. Totally health will be online. Health personals, real, sometimes wearables, how to go for preventive health, and also real-time monitoring with AI, and suggestions AI, everything. And the cost how to reduce. So many things we are working. That will be very interesting. It is a game changer on health sector.
Mr. Naidu, you mentioned one very key component of your presentation to Mr. Gates, that is demography. And all of a sudden, you have led the chorus that we should produce more children. And particularly in South India, South Indian states are, not having enough population, and therefore more children should be produced. Do you think the right time for that has come in our country?
This is where I am saying some of the, if you go through history, it is a very rare opportunity for me also. Around late 90s, I promoted family planning. Everybody told me it is impossible to control population. Then I took it as a